Om Shri Ganesha Gurubhyo Namaha. In this episode of Guru Tattva, we offer a tribute to one of the women saint poets of Maharashtra, Santa Soirabai. She is a wife of Santa Chokha Mela and both of them belong to the Warkari tradition. Warkaris are pilgrims who annually visit Pandharpur on Ashadi Ekadashi or Kartike Ekadashi and pay their obeisance to Lord Vitthal, the residing deity there. He is lovingly called as Pandurang or Vithoba by the Warkaris. Santa Chokha Mela is believed to have been born in Buldhana in Maharashtra and migrated to Pandharpur in search of work. He loved Pandharpur so much that he decided to settle there with his family. So his family, consisting of his wife Santa Soirabai, their son Santa Karma Mela, his sister Santa Nirmalabai, and her husband Santa Banka, who happens to be the brother of Santa Soirabai too. They all stayed at Pandharpur, immersed in their devotion to Lord Vitthal. They had just one grievance with the Lord, and that was that they were born in a community of Mahars or Dalits, the untouchables. This is in the 14th century that we are talking about, when caste system was very prevalent. And the hierarchy in the caste system was the upper caste and the lower caste. Obviously, the lower caste, that is the Dalits, were given such a harsh treatment. Especially if you hear about the treatment given to Soirabai and Chokha Mela. They had a profession of drawing out the dead bodies and carcass of animals from the farms and fields of the upper caste population and to throw these bodies outside the village boundaries. They were not having any complaint or grievance about the quality of work that they were meted out with. Their grievance was the treatment that they were meted out with. The treatment was harsh. They were given the leftovers of the food which the Brahmin priest would throw at them. They were given an inhabitation on the other side of the river Chandrabhaga at Pandharpur, on the other side of the temple. They were asked to have a separate inhabitation there, not anywhere near the temple. They were also denied entry into the temple premises, leave aside having a glimpse of the idol of Pandurang. This prohibition of not allowing these people to enter the temple because they were untouchables was something which hurt the sentiments of Chokha Mela to such an extent that in one of his abhangs he cries out to Pandurang and he says, "Hina maza mansi deva kaiso ghadi tujhi seva." Means, they call me an untouchable. How am I going to serve you? He says. Talking about untouchability, this was in the 14th century, but there wasn't a very different situation in the 20th century. In 1925, when the gates of the Tiruchenur temple to have darshan of Lord Venkateshwara was opened, all the devotees who were supposed to be from the upper caste, they rushed in, and along with them in that euphoria, in rushed a man who was an untouchable. When it was found out that this man was not supposed to enter the temple, he was prosecuted. It was then that C. Rajagopalachari, the Governor General before India became a republic in 1950, he took up his case, defended his case and acquitted him. He fought for the rights of that untouchable because he felt that it's a right of every individual to have a glimpse of the God. And that is why many years later, C. Rajagopalachari, or Rajaji as we call him, in one of his Tamil compositions, the one and only composition that he did in Tamil, Kurai Undrum Illai, which means I have no regrets. It seems like this composition is in memory of that untouchable who was not allowed to enter the temple or enter the shrine and have a glimpse of Lord Venkateshwara. He compares that untouchable with himself and he says, it is my inability to see the invisible creator also, even though I am born to a particular higher caste. Okay, coming back now to Santa Chokha Mela. Once when he pleaded with the Brahmin priest to give him permission to just have a glimpse of the idol of Pandurang, they were so annoyed with him that they beat him up mercilessly, thrashed him black and blue. And as he comes home, and just as he's about to enter his home, Santa Soirabai, who has seen this or heard about this, she watches him and she tells him to stop at the threshold. She brings a thali of aarti, she waves diyas at him, and she says, "So what if the priests have beaten you so mercilessly? My Vitthal, my Pandurang has not given up on you. See, along with you, there are so many people, because along with Sokha Mela at that time, many people had come to inquire about his state from his own community, from other places also saints had come to visit him. So she says all the Vaishnavas have gathered here and they are all celebrating this. So don't think that you have been beaten. In fact, you have been upheld by Vitthal. He has seen to it that he is taking care of you. So he has not let you down. In this way, she becomes his spiritual pillar. She considers Sokha Mela as her guru, but in the process, she becomes a source of pillar, a strength for him. Further on, Soirabai in her abhangs. These abhangs are composed by her when she is doing her household duties. She is looking after her child. She is looking after her family members. She composes abhangs. It comes spontaneously. The words are simple. There is no mincing words. There is not much of literary, a circus over there. And as a result of it, her abhangs come purely from the soul. It's as if the Lord speaks through her. Every event that happens in her house, she talks to the Lord, and He is present in that abhang with her. She has to face a lot of strife, not only from her community. I'm talking about the community that she belongs to, the Dalit community, but even from the members of the community who are on the other side, that is the upper caste. Her own community members also demeaned her for a long time because she was not able to bear a child. She blames Vitthal even for that. But finally, after many years, when she conceives and gives birth to a son whom she names as Karma Mela, at that time she runs to the temple and she invites Vitthal and Rukmini and tells him to come for the naming ceremony of her son. So if you see, her abhangs have got simplicity and total devotion to Vitthal. If you compare Santa Soirabai with Santa Mirabai, both of them have immense love, intense devotion to Vitthal, to Krishna. But if you see the status from which they belong, Santa Soirabai comes from the very low strata of society, whereas Mirabai was a princess, wealthy. Mirabai's story is that of sacrifice and intense love, whereas Soirabai went through the entire process of material life. She gave birth to a son, she looked after all the material needs of her family, and from there, from her material existence, she transcends into a spiritual space. Her abhangs seem to cry out and tell us the very same story, that women saints should be included in modern cultural history. One of her abhangs, which talks about very profound Advaita philosophy, which great philosophers and saints like Adi Shankara, Swami Vivekananda have put forth, seems to be evident in a very simple way in her abhang. This abhang is one of the jewels of her compositions. I will be reading the lines and explaining the words or the meanings to you. After that, we'll be playing the abhang, as we'll be singing, we'll be having it sung by one of a versatile singer and composer, Niharika Sinha, who is a Sangeet Visharad. When we spoke about this abhang, one thing was very clear, that we did not want to have too much of classical intricacies into this abhang. We wanted it to be simple, raw, without any percussions, only with the tanpura and Niharika's voice. We said that this should be the outcome of the abhang, the way Soirabai must have sung it when she would have composed it. This abhang was supposed to have been composed by, I'm talking of the lyric composition, by Soirabai possibly when she got to have a glimpse, she got a chance to have a glimpse of Lord Vitthal. She is supposed to have survived even after the death of Santa Chokhamela only because of her devotion to Lord Vitthal. Santa Chokhamela is supposed to have died in an accident of a crash of a wall which was being constructed in the precincts of the temple and the Dalit inhabitation. The wall crashed and he along with a few other laborers died. When Sant Namdev visited after many days, after about a fortnight, when he visited the site, he realized that some bones in that place, in that site of accident, were chanting Vitthal Vitthal. He identified them. Now Sant Namdev is the guru of Santa Chokhamela, for your information. He picked up those bones and placed them in a shrine outside the Pandharpur Pandurang temple, and today when you visit the temple you will find this shrine called as Chokhamela Samadhi. She did not cry at the time of her husband's death. In fact, she said he is merged with the divine, so it's a moment of jubilation, celebration, and I'm waiting for the day when I also will be joining that. So when one of the Varkari movements, which was very strongly proposed by Sant Jnaneshwar Mauli, he was one of the proponents for it. When this Varkari movement became very strong, Santa Soirabai could get a glimpse of the Vitthal Murti at Pandurang, and when she sees it, the words which flow out from her heart are these: Avagha Ranga Ek Zhala, Rangi Rangala Shri Ranga. Now here when she says Avagha Ranga Ek Zhala, Ranga means color, but here we are not talking of the physical colors like blue, brown and all that. We are talking of the color, racism, social inequalities, caste discrimination, bias on gender. When all these things have completely got dissolved and we have all got colored into one, that means I and you. You means who? Shri Rang. She's talking to Pandurang Murti over there. She says I and you have become one. We are merged into one. Avagha Ranga Ek Zhala. All the colors have become one color, and that color is that of Shri Rang. Shri Rang means a color of Pandurang. Now there is a small incident about Pandurang. Pandurang, in one of the stories we come to know that Sant Namdev in his childhood used to pour milk on the idol of Pandurang. And when asked what is the color, he would say it is Pandra Rang. So he would say Pandra Rang, and from Pandra means white. And from Pandra Rang it became Pandurang, the colloquial use. So if you see white color and black color of the actual idol, both were considered to be synonymous for Sant Namdev, and that is why we say the color of Shri Rang is that which absorbs everything. See, black absorbs everything. So everything is absorbed by this color. So that's why she says Rangi Rangala Shri Ranga. The next line, Mi tu pan gele vaya pahata pandharicha raya. So she says the moment I saw Pandurang, the difference I had between you and me. She's talking about herself and Pandurang. She says the discrimination, the separation that we had, that is all absolved. And now we have become one. Me tu pan. So it is myself and yourself. That division of duality has completely got absolved and we have become one, she says. Next is Nahi Bhedache te kama Padoni gele Krodha kama. So she says there is no question of any discrimination now. We have become one. When you and I have become one, isn't she talking about Advaita now? Now how can a woman who is supposed to be completely illiterate get such a high profound knowledge of Advaita? It is only because of a continuous devotion and chanting of the Lord. So here when she talks about Nahi Bheda Chete Kama, so we don't, like in the physical world, in the material world there is discrimination that you belong to so and so caste, you are of so and so color. But when it comes to Pandurang, the spiritual world, she says there is no work of discrimination, and when there is no discrimination, then there is no desire, there is no anger, there is no emotion at all. We have all become one, unified form. Next is Dehi Asoni Videhi Sada Samadhistapahi. So she is now talking about Pandurang, we can take it in that way. She's talking about the idol of Pandurang. Ki Dehi asoni videhi. You have a form, she says, but you're beyond that form. You don't get involved with that form in soul. You don't get attached with other things in that form. So in Eknathi Bhagavat, Sant Eknath gives us a mention of the sky or the Akash. The sky is supposed to be completely devoid of any attachments. It has dark clouds in it, clouds which are roaring and thundering. It has even light clouds in it. But in spite of all this, the sky is unaffected. So same way she says, Pandurang also is there with you, but he is not attached. So Dehi asoni videhi. This is a very deep, profound thing which only great philosophers could explain. But here is a woman who is giving you all this knowledge through a very simple lama. Dehi asoni videhi sada samadhistapahi. So I am always seeing you, and when I see you, I also go into a meditative trance, is what she tells. So though we have a physical body, we don't have a material existence, we have become one, and I am in your state and you are in my state, and we are therefore a meditative trance. The last line is very important. Pahate pahane gele duri mhane chokhiyachi mahari. Pahate pahane. What am I seeing? When I and you have become one, what am I going to see? What is there to see? What is there to be seen? Everything has become one. The one who sees and the one who has to be seen have become one unified thing. So when they have merged together, there is no difference, there is no discrimination. And who is saying this? She uses her signature as Chokhiyachi Mahari. Now, Chokhiyachi Mahari is the word which is used by her to show that she is the disciple and the humble servant of her guru, of her husband, Santa Chokhamira. So if you see the humility with which she portrays herself, her service towards her husband, and transcending from her service towards her family, transcending through her material existence, she has created a spiritual space for herself. She has created a spiritual realm, and she is somewhere subtly asking all of us to include such women saints in the modern cultural history. This is the ode that we could give to this great woman saint, Santa Soirabai. And as I mentioned earlier, my friend Niharika Sinha, who is a Sangeet Visharad, a versatile singer, has composed this abhang devoid of any percussion, devoid of any classical niceties, very simple, raw abhang. And the reason for that is each of us should pay attention to the lyrics and not get distracted to the music and other side accompaniments. With this, I conclude this episode of Guru Tattva, which was a special tribute to the woman poet saint, Santa Soirabai. Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hari.
समाधिस्थ पाहि देहि असो निविदेहि सदा समा